Hey guys, brand new Bertcast. Red Rocks is on sale right now. September 13th. Me, Shane Gillis, Mark Norman, Red Rocks. Tickets are moving fast. I would get your tickets now. Trust me. General on sale just started today, but you're not listening to this today. And also, fully loaded, my lineup with my favorite comics to take on the road. We're going to do ballparks. June 16th, South Bend, Indiana. June 17th, Louisville, Kentucky. June 18th, Dayton, I think, is sold out. I think we're going to add seats. We're going to try to add seats June 18th to Dayton, Ohio. I'm not certain. Don't hold me to that. Rochester almost sold out. June 19th, Greenville, South Carolina. Bristol, Tennessee. Lawrenceville, Georgia. Brandon, Mississippi. June 26th, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. Get your tickets at fullyloadedfestival.com and Red Rocks and a bunch of announcements coming up. I can't wait. I can't fucking wait. Brandon, Mississippi. I can't wait to do stand-up in Mississippi. I've never done stand-up in Mississippi. Can you believe it? I'm bringing the whole team. So, today's podcast, and thank you everyone that came to the Greek. It was sold out. Amazing experience. Amazing experience. I need to slow down.
You're almost at the finish line.
I'm almost at the finish line. This has been aggressive. It's been 3 weeks out, 1 week off from, when did I start this? In September?
Seems like a year ago you started it.
Yeah. Well, the Birdie Boy Relapse Tour, we're going to take a pause. We're going to do Fully Loaded. And then right before Red Rocks, we're going to come back. We'll do a big run up until December. I have huge announcements to make. I'm shooting my Netflix special. I want to announce where that's going to be filmed. And I'm doing an epic run in a place I've wanted to go and bring my family for a very long time. So let's get to the podcast. Today's podcast is a podcast I've been wanting to do. I saw an article written by a young lady who was telling the story of why she decided to cut her arm off. And very candidly, this hit me pretty dead center in the chest because when I had arm surgery for my tendon, I had a nerve block. And I had met this guy named Gabe. He's an archer. He's one-arm archer. He was on Go Big Show. And Gabe had cut his arm off. And I couldn't wrap my head around it until I had a nerve block in my arm. And I woke up one night. My arm was behind my recliner. And I couldn't get it back. And it was fucking freaky. And I started having panic attacks and I couldn't move my hand. And I realized if I was put in Gabe's position, I too might cut my arm off. And so obviously, me and Tom both had this issue with our arms. And I read this young lady's article. Her name's Chloé Toscano. She is an amazing journalist. She has since written on, she just texted me. She wrote a new article. Let me see if I can find it and promote it. I follow her on Instagram. Let me see if I can find her on Instagram so I can tell you where to follow her. But I followed her journey of her cutting her arm off. It is Chloé Valentine Toscano. Chloé Valentine Toscano. Let's see. She just messaged me and told me she wrote a new article at allure.com, and it's about glitter and temporary tattoos help me adjust to my post-amputation. How makeup bridged the gap between my missing arm and me. Chloé Valentine Toscano. We had a great conversation. We talked very briefly about her accident, which is fascinating because she doesn't want the accident to define her. She is a Paralympian swimmer. She is amazing. She's a great person. We talked about love. We talked about a ton of things. I feel like she's a little sister to me. We ended up taking her out in New York and partying with her. I think I was pretty lit. Where did we go? Did we go out to dinner?
You guys plan it in this podcast.
We planned it in this podcast, and we ended up doing it. We ended up going out with her.
That's cool.
And taking her out. She came to my show. Where's this at? This is in New York.
But
yeah, I absolutely adore her. I think she's great. I think you should give her a follow. But more importantly, you're going to learn a lot out of this podcast. You're going to love this podcast. It's a great podcast. She's an awesome person. Ladies and gentlemen, journalist and friend of mine, Chloé Toscano. Chloé Toscano, it is a pleasure to have you here. It is a real pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
This is really awesome. I'm following your journey. I read the article. That's how I got introduced to you. You're a great writer. You're a fantastic writer.
Thank you.
My daughter I wrote a book, but I'm a horrible writer, but I really can enjoy good writing. And the way you started that article off. So what did you think of House of Gucci?
It was funny actually, because I was surprised because a lot of the feedback I got from that article, a solid third of it were people having opinions about what movie I was gonna see. And I was like, cool. It just took away the attention from the big thing, but that's cool. It was okay.
My buddy Tom Segura saw it and he absolutely hated it.
Okay, I didn't love it. I was being nice.
Yeah.
I'm a big Lady Gaga fan.
I'm a huge Lady Gaga fan.
I love Lady Gaga.
Someone just sent me a text. Andrew, did you just send me a text about her? Someone sent me a text comparing her to Amy Winehouse, saying Lady Gaga is Amy Winehouse if she had done all the work and put in the effort, and because they're both so amazingly talented.
They are, really.
But Lady Gaga is the Peyton Manning. I'm the worst at drawing it out. I'm like, as I say that to
She's
you,
an incredible performer. I got tickets to go see her in August, and I've never seen her in concert. And that was one thing I said after my surgery. I was like, I'm gonna go see Lady Gaga when this is done. And it came up, and I managed to get tickets. So I was like, yes.
That's awesome. How old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
Nah, I'm 28.
You're young. You're very young, and and I want to cover all of it, but I want to tell you why I'm fascinated by your journey the most. Is my best friend had arm. I don't know if you know anything. We talked about you on a podcast.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, we have a podcast called Two Bears, One Cave. My best friend had broke his arm in half.
Wow.
Right here in the femur, in the humerus. And it spun in circles. And luckily I was there to reset it for him. But I think in doing so, in all of the trauma, whatnot, he had some nerve damage. And he went and had a very, very in-depth nerve surgery. And he was telling me about it. And at the time, I ended up pulling all my tricep muscles off my arm in doing a stunt for a movie.
Oh my God! What are you guys doing?
And so I know. Well, I gotta be honest with you. I'm next time I'm also getting stem cell and everything. So so I listened to his journey, and I was there for it for the majority of it. I went to the hospital with him. I talked to him through rehab. We talked a great deal about everything, and then I got surgery and I got a nerve block. Now, also, there's a guy named Gabe who's the one-arm archer. I don't know if you know who he is.
I'm not sure if I'm familiar.
He was an archer. He was on one of my TV shows, and he had cut off his arm. He'd hurt it in a motorcycle accident. He cut off his arm. And as a comedian, I busted balls with him a lot, and he took it all in great strides, and had a very great sense of humor about it. This is Gabe, but one day I said to him, I said, for real, why did you? Like, why not keep the arm? And he goes, you have no fucking idea. He goes, shoulder pain, back pain. He goes, I had no feeling in it. So like I burned it a couple times. Like I'm paraphrasing.
It's a lot of dead weight. It's just, it gets in the way. It's just, I think it's a brave step to take in a way. I think people have, this concept of wanting to aesthetically keep two arms because at some point that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I feel so much more functional this way that for me, I don't feel very different when I look in the mirror. I struggled with adjusting my clothes and stuff, and things like that, but I don't feel different when I look in the mirror because I feel so much more functional. Like I can move my arm up, and I'm Italian, so I talk with my hands a lot. So now I'm always like,
yeah. Well, in this whole process of all of this, I ended up having to get surgery, and they gave me a nerve block.
Oh.
And I woke up. They said it should be done. It should be through your system. You'll have feeling in your arm again in like 6 hours. Worst case scenario, 48 hours, but no longer than 6. I promise you. If we get to 24, give us a call. Well, we got to like 18 hours, and I started panicking. But the idea of not being able to feel my hand and my whole arm, or move it, or waking up and finding it in a weird spot. I woke up and it was behind my bed, and it was behind my recliner, and I didn't know it had gotten there, and I couldn't get it out.
It's such a terrible feeling. It's so strange.
It's so strange that I immediately said I would definitely cut my arm off. I would definitely, I'm not even joking. Within one day, I said, God forbid something happens where I lose feeling, I will cut that arm off.
It feels alien to you.
Yeah.
It feels completely alien. And I had so I didn't lose feeling in my arm. I had feeling, but no motor function. So, but I've had the nerve blocks before, so I know what you're saying. So it was just very, very odd.
Well, take me from the beginning, because I want to know. I did a deep dive on you. You are a Paralympic swimmer.
Yeah, I did. I was training with the Paralympics. I took a break right now because of the surgery.
Yeah.
I was having a lot of shoulder problems because it's a lot of dead weight to swim with.
It's a lot of. So just from me having a cast on, I have back problems from that, and so in a weird way, and this is what I was like. I was trying to say this to people is I wanted people to hear your story and realize it can be their story. I wanted them to empathize with your story. But I want to get to know who you are first before I start asking very intimate questions.
Yeah.
So you grew up in New York, Long Island?
No, I actually didn't grow up in New York. I grew up in Florida.
What?
And yeah.
Where?
In South Florida, in Boca Raton. You went to school there, didn't?
I went to school in Florida State. I grew up in Tampa.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I dated Miss Boca High at one point. Where did you go? Spanish River?
Wait, you went to Boca High?
No, I know. No, my girlfriend was Miss Boca High. Where did you go to school?
I went to an art school that was in West Palm Beach. Actually, I took the train there every day. It was an hour away from my house. Yeah, and so that's where I went for middle school through high school. It was a magnet school program. And I was in an arts program there. So that's what I did.
Italian, your family Italian from New York, relocated?
No, not even. My dad's side is Italian, but we're estranged. My mother's Swiss, so we speak French.
Really?
Yeah. I just don't look Swiss at all. I got all the Italian.
You got a lot of Italian.
I got all the Italian. And whenever I'm on the phone now, I'm holding the phone with my right hand, and even my left arm's just like, I'm like, no, what are you talking about? What? I was sitting at breakfast with my mother the other day, and she was like, God, Chloe, you're so Italian. You're like moving around your arm, because I was getting upset on a call, and I was like, what do you mean?
That's so growing up, and I asked this because my daughter had a big event. What were you like in high school? Did you have a big group of friends? Did you have a small, tight-knit group of friends? Were you a social butterfly? So my school is divided by arts. So we had like visual arts, which was where I was, dance, theater, strings, band. And I think that was it. So we were you stuck with your major, your friends who were in your major very much. So I was with the art kids. I didn't stay very close with a lot of them. I mean, we stuck together middle school through high school. I was mostly friends with the people who lived in my area, because we were all coming from different areas to go to this school. So there was maybe a group of 5 that lived in Boca Raton. So I was friends with them. And then in college, I didn't know anyone when I went to college. Where'd you
go? CU Boulder.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay. I tried desperately to get my daughter to go there.
Yeah, they have like the Ralphie mascot. Andrew and I were talking about that in the car. I applied to be on the route. They have a real buffalo that they run around the football field at games. And I thought it would be funny to apply to be one of the handlers. And it's like a couple of big strapping men and some maybe very strong women. And I'm not that. But I applied, and I didn't think they would get back to me, because I filled out a BS application, and I wrote they said, do you have any experience with large animals? And I think I said like dragon handler or something like that. And they got back to me to go to tryouts, and I was like, oh
no. So you went to CU Boulder. Were you a skier, snowboarder?
Oh no, I've never skied or snowboarded. I'm actually not very outdoorsy. I don't know really what I was doing, like how I wound up in Colorado.
Yeah, that's an interesting move, because like I tried desperately to get my daughter to go to Boulder. I wanted her to go there so bad, because I wanted to go there. I wanted to go hang out. And so, and it's such a beautiful school.
It is. It's a beautiful school. I went there because it was the only non-art school that I applied to. And at some point I said, I want to go a little bit away from the arts, because I feel like if I were to stick on just an arts track, I wouldn't have opened my horizons enough. And I really wanted to learn how to write. That was a big thing for me. And I feel like that's something I wouldn't have gotten to focus on, because you prioritize your studio art so much at an art school. So I just wanted to expand that horizon. So that's why I wound up going there.
So when you got to college, did you kind of leave arts behind?
I kept doing it independently, but it's hard, to manage both. I still work on things. I take on big pieces at home sometimes, like I'm working on something right now. But for the most part, I write because I think it's a really great creative form that's very portable. And just, I don't know, I think that so many people can appreciate it at once. It's a lot easier to let other people see it in a way.
Well, you're a fantastic writer.
Thank you.
I sent your article to a bunch of people as soon as I read it. Well, I love, I love, I don't know enough about art, about literature to be able to compare you to someone, but I would compare you in my head. I can just compare you to the people I like, which is like Fitzgerald, Hemingway. I love Hemingway is one of my favorite writers.
I'm honored
in the world because he's very. I love his titles. I love the titles of his book, For Whom the Bell Tolls, or The Sun Also Rises.
Yeah,
The Sun Also Rises is a book that I read. Growing up, you have to read in school, and then one day I had to reread all the 20s, all the writers from that era. After graduate, I moved to New York. I didn't graduate, so I had to go and take correspondence classes, and one was a literature class.
Oh, cool.
And it was actually really cool because I ended up reading a bunch of books that I wanted to read.
I like literature classes. I think they're great for that because you can kind of take whatever you need out of them in a way.
To this day, I have stolen so much from those people. I remember being in New York and reading Hemingway, and I went up to my roof. I lived on where did I leave? Bleecker Street.
Oh my God, I love Bleecker Street.
It's that little. Was it Bleecker Street? Yeah, the Bleecker Street Cafe.
I just went out there. It was my birthday last week, and I just went out there with my friend. It's so fun.
Oh yeah, and so I was up on the roof and I was reading, and having a cigar and a cup of coffee, and then the sun was setting, and I was reading The Sun Also Rises, and it was at that moment that I realized, well, that's why this is a great title. The Sun Also Rises, like it's a fucking banging title.
It is. It absolutely is. And it's so great that you got to experience it in that environment, in that setting. And because that has so much to do with sometimes when you're reading something. Are
you a big reader?
I'm actually not a big reader. I was at some point, and I'm not. I read a lot of the Russian literature because I took all the Russian literature courses.
So
in college.
me too. I did what's the book We
by Zamyatin.
Yeah. Zamyatin. Wait, what got you into Russian literature?
I took it was an elective course. It was a Russian fairy tales course. And I immediately fell in love with the literature and the culture. And I think that the language is so interesting. And so I just wound up taking a lot more of the courses, which just amounted to just like me taking all the Russian courses that they had. And I read so much of the literature from there and I think that it's so dark, and it's sometimes humorous in a very dark way. It's a dark sense of humor that I personally enjoy.
Yeah.
So I just got a lot of pleasure out of reading those books.
I loved the idea that the state was controlling the art, but yet the message was still going out through the art.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool that it made me feel like I was reading secrets.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And we had to read it in Russian. When I was in Russia, we were supposed to be reading them in Russian, and I couldn't. I was kind of fucking horrible. I have all the books. I have those, and I have Jack London. I have a whole set of Jack London in Russian. Yeah, he was a really big Russian writer. People love Jack London.
Yeah.
But that's interesting that you got into Russian literature because I kind of got forced into it a little bit. But reading. As we're talking right now, I'm looking for something in life. I'm missing something in life. I don't know what it is. And part of me thinks it's my lifestyle. I think my lifestyle's not allowing life to shine the way I want it to. It used to help. I drink a lot. I party. Yeah. I stay out late. I'm on the road for a month at a time.
Yeah.
And as we're talking, I should read a book. I should maybe just find a book and read it.
I think that all the time. I'm a writer, and sometimes I say, oh my God, Chloe, you're such a fraudulent writer. You don't read enough.
I love the word fraudulent. The way you just used that, I will be stealing that.
Go for it. I don't even know if I used it correctly, but I mean, I feel like that. I'm like, oh, you're such an imposter you don't read enough. But I mean, I still really value my Russian literature, and I think that it made a big imprint on how I write today. I was good in my Russian fairy tales class, and then after that, I was just a terrible Russian student. I did the reading, but I was just never in class. I had this Russian teacher who was actually there when I had my scooter accident. She happened to be walking by, and I remember because I was covered in road burns when I had that scooter accident, and my pants were torn. And she came over and she took me into the school and
So this accident happened at Boulder?
yeah, like right in front of the school. And she took me into the school to like disinfect the cuts on my legs. And she goes, "Ripped jeans are fashion." And she pulls my jeans on the knee open even more so she can disinfect the cuts. But then this teacher, I was a nightmare for her probably. I just never had my work done ever. But it was just so funny that it happened there like that.
Sweet. Do you mind if I ask you personal questions?
Go for it.
Have you been in love?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. How many times? I love asking people that because we do it on our bus. We talk about how many times we've been in love. And it's interesting. I know my first one was 8th grade. That was like sick love. That was like, I was like, that's what this is.
Yeah.
The kind of love where you go, I never thought I was going to get it.
Yeah.
And then you go, and then you're like, I got it.
And you can't pin the feeling down, and you're like, I don't understand, and it's making me upset, and I'm feeling all these things, and I don't know what it is. Yeah. I'm a Pisces, so I don't know. My friend's always like, I'm not big into zodiac signs, but my best friend is, and she's like, oh, it's because you're a Pisces. You're so emotional all the time.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I have been in love. Yeah.
Really?
Too many times.
Do you fall in love easy?
I'd say no, I don't know, but when I do, it's usually with someone very unattainable or just something that's not promising. Like my gay best friend. And
You fell in love with your gay best friend?
Absolutely.
Really?
Hardcore.
Really?
Yes. In college, and we spent so much time together, and it just got. I was like this. I could live my life just with him, loving him. Like I was ready to give up everything, and I just fell in love with the wrong people.
I fell in love with a gay woman once.
Yeah. Did you know she was though?
So without spilling too much, I had dated her when I think I always knew she was gay. I think that's part of the thing. I mean, if you meet my wife, I think you'd think she's gay. Like there's there's something very sexy about gay people where like of the opposite sex to me, where they don't really want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I don't know, it's like you're chasing something. And I liked that. I really loved that. Chase inspired me. It inspired me to feel. It inspired me to want and to need, and I loved it. And we dated for a period of time when I don't think I knew she was gay. I don't think she knew she was gay. I don't think she ever knew she was gay. I don't think she still to this day admits she was gay. But then I dated her when she was I had a girlfriend, and it was very, very complicated. It was very complicated.
It becomes complicated with that.
I loved her. I love her brain. I love her brain. Her brain is one of my top 5 favorite brains in the world. Now my wife's number one, but and I don't think that I could. I know for a fact I couldn't be with this woman today, the way I lived my life. But when I was a single guy looking for who I wanted to be and who I strove to be, is that a word? I loved that woman's brain. She was very fun brain.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, when you're younger and as you're growing, you sometimes have a more romanticized version of how things can work out no matter what. And you can allow yourself to latch on to people for whatever reason like that. And you don't always control it. Yeah. So I've definitely been there. That situation sounds very familiar, except that we did not date.
Did you ever hook up at all?
No, not even. It came to a point where he said that he didn't even want to be friends anymore. It broke my heart.
So how many times have you had your heart broken? Exact amount of times you've fallen in love?
Probably. Yeah, my first. So I think my first like relationship, it didn't even last that long, was with a woman, and she was older, and it was my first time with a woman, and I think it was just a realization for me, and I very quickly fell for her. But I think she lived a lifestyle that was very different than mine, and I feel like we just weren't compatible, and she wanted to introduce someone else into the relationship, and I did not want that. And so and I hated her dog. I'd wake up every morning and her dog's butt was on my pillow. And it was horrible. So that couldn't
When
go
you
on.
say how much older?
10 years older.
And were you in college at the time?
No, I was out of college. I was maybe like 24.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was like 34. And I just, I think I was still just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be. And it can very quickly become derailed when you fall for someone and you want to give them all of yourself and you want to break your comfort zone for them. Like I wouldn't let anyone's dog's butt sleep on my pillow.
Not now.
No. But like when you really want to,
When you compromise who you are and then you wake up one day and you're like, who the fuck am I?
Yeah, and you feel like you've let go on a lot of stuff that you're working on, things that you're working towards, and you feel like you're torn in two different directions. I don't feel like a relationship should feel that way. It shouldn't feel like it's tearing you apart from who you are. So, I was so heavily focused on my arm the past couple of years that I just haven't taken the time to even think about dating or falling in love.
Focused with your arm, because the decision to remove it, then all of a sudden you have to do the build up.
Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about. I'm curious about the scooter accident, because it's amazing how one little thing can.
Yeah. It's just such a silly, small little thing. I was driving with my arm in a cast that day on top of that because I had a scooter. I broke my wrist trying to catch a ladybug at the top of, I was just like standing on the side of the bathtub, and I fell down. And so I was in a cast for that. And then, college age, you make bad decisions. So I'm driving my scooter because I'm like, I can drive it in a cast.
Like a Vespa?
Yeah, it was a Vespa. And the rear brakes are on the left. But I couldn't hit them because I had my cast on the left side. And then a pedestrian crossed the road. So I just had to stop really quickly. And I slammed my front brakes. So I just flew over. But it's something that feels so small and so past to me now because I don't feel like I'm living that anymore.
Yeah.
So I try to kind of take it and leave it there because I think if you dwell on those small things, you can never keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think from the outside looking in, people can dwell on it. People can go, oh, if that happened to me, I'd be so focused on that one day. But when it does happen to you, you go, oh no, I'm here right now. Like my buddy, it was all because he was going to do a slam dunk.
Yeah.
And his patella ruptured and he landed on his arm and it broke in half and spun in a circle.
Yeah. That's Tom.
Yeah, that's Tom. And
that's crazy. It must have been such an intense recovery.
He's still going through it.
Yeah, I believe it. You don't stop going through these things when they happen. And God, the nerve block is so weird. They did it to me after my surgery because my pain was so bad.
Yeah.
And actually, like before I went under for my surgery, the anesthesiologist who did the nerve block, because they were supposed to do a long lasting one so that I wouldn't feel anything when I woke up from the surgery. He said, these can cause permanent paralysis sometimes. And he did it. And then I went under, which was like, why would you say that?
Oh, that fucking makes me crazy. Someone needs to talk to him, pull him aside and say, this isn't how you talk to people.
It was like, he was doing it. And I was like, I don't know. It was just, it's a little bit of a high stress moment.
Yeah.
The only thing that made it less high stress was there was this woman working at the hospital, and I don't know who she was, but she was there when I was checking in for my surgery, and she was wearing, it was December, so she was wearing an ugly Christmas sweater with very uniquely placed ornaments on it. And I couldn't stop laughing when I was checking in for my surgery, and the guy thought I was crying because I was trying to hold it back. And then when I was there and we were preparing for my surgery and the guy was doing the nerve block and my doctor at the same time was drawing with a Sharpie on my arm, this woman was standing there. She was just there. I don't know why she was there again. And I started laughing so much.
Oh, as you can.
Yeah, because I was just like, And my mother, who was there, knew why I was laughing. And I couldn't tell them. I didn't want to be like, oh, her Christmas sweater.
Because your sweater's making me laugh
Yeah.
to the point where it looks like I'm crying.
Yeah.
But it's not my arm getting cut off.
Yeah. So my mom's like, it's nerves. But I was like, it's the sweater. But it was such an absurd experience. And these nerve blocks are so intense. But mine didn't take. So I woke up.
It didn't take?
It didn't take. So I woke up very much feeling things. The second one it did take. And so like, I know what you were going through at that point because it really took.
This podcast is brought to you by Raycon. By the way, I want to start this. It's Mother's Day. Raycons make the perfect gift for moms. Who else is leaving you voicemails? Honestly, if you want to say Happy Mother's Day to your mom, get her a pair of Raycons. I want to start by saying I brought my Raycons skiing, and I wear a helmet when I ski. I wanted to thank them personally. Bigger headsets, you feel them cramming in your ears. These are so sleek. They felt perfect in my helmets. They are a must-have for super moms. All those masters who multitask, who need to keep their hands free with Raycons, they can stay entertained while listening to their favorite podcasts like Two Bears, One Cave, or Bertcast, or Your Mom's House, or Rogan, or Joey's Joint, Uncle Joey's Joint. Take a phone. By the way, I want to party with the mom that's listening to Uncle Joey's Joint. It's all hands-free. Raycons are user-friendly for the mom switching to wireless earbuds. Easy to set up, easy to use, seamless Bluetooth pairing. Plus, they come in a bunch of fun colors, so you can find mom the color that suits her personality. Optimized with gel tips for the perfect inner fit. These are earbuds that are so comfortable, and they are. They do not budge. You can put a helmet on them. I'm telling you, that's why I love my Raycons. I threw them on. Amazing music. I think it's got 8 hours of playtime, 32 hours of battery life with their compact, portable charging case. And the price just right. You get the quality audio for half the other price of the other premium audio brands. And Raycon's everyday earbuds have over 49,000 5-star reviews, perfectly fitting for a 5-star mom. I love my Raycons. They're sleek. They fit in perfect. I can sleep in the bus listening to podcasts. I don't feel them bulging in my ear. I don't even forget they're in sometimes. Tell mom how much you love her and make sure she hears it in crystal clear audio quality with Raycons. Go to buyraycon.com/Bertcast to get 15% off your Mother's Day order. That's buyraycon.com/Bertcast. I'm impressed by how much you actually move your arm talking. It's overwhelming. You are really animated.
I just always was. So this was very odd for me to have it not animated.
So then when the accident happened, at what point did you know things weren't going to be okay?
I broke my thumb on the scooter accident. So that was like everyone's initial big focus was my road burns because I had so many. And so the arm didn't get looked at for a while.
Oh, really?
And then when my cast came off, they were like, oh crap, she broke her thumb.
Do you still have road burns? Any scars?
Not really. I have like the tiniest thing underneath the wing of this tattoo right here. But like,
do you say tattoo?
What did I say?
That's the way I say it. Keep going. So they were focused on these road burns, so no one was really.
Yeah. So like after they did a surgery to repair the broken thumb, and it was after like that cast came off, and I realized that the mobility is not right. So that's kind of when I realized it, and it was just very odd.
So the cast came off. So you had that cast on the whole time and didn't realize what was going on.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, no.
And then the cast comes off, and I've explained this to people. I've said you didn't have use of your arm from the elbow to the fingertips.
No, that's correct.
Oh, that is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why they went above the elbow for me, a couple inches above the elbow.
Really?
Yeah. Because had they gone underneath. I have so many people now. It's funny how social media people presume to know your life, and people are like, you should have kept the elbow. You would have much better function with a prosthesis. And I'm like, you'd think I might have if it would have been a good decision. But thank you.
The internet
sucks
so bad.
So
bad. And I actually followed you from afar and was hesitant to talk about you until I knew you'd do my podcast, because I didn't want to send people your way. Like I didn't want morons coming to you.
Oh.
And because that was
very considerate.
First of all, when you're at your age, you're just 10 years older than my daughters. So I'm a little hyper aware of I would say young ladies. And I know you're a woman, but I'm hyper aware of just how horrible people can be to women.
Yeah.
And especially when you're going through something that is very private, but you are being public and you are sharing your journey, that you're sharing it for the people that really are. I think you're I know for a fact that I felt privileged to be able to follow it. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, and I'm glad I'm touched that you say that. I mean, I wrote the article just started off as it was really on a whim. I hadn't told anyone. I got COVID the week before my surgery, so I was locked quarantining by myself in New York over Thanksgiving at Diane Neal's house watching her cat. And like alone in her house. And I was just like, had nothing to do but think. And I hadn't told anyone about my surgery except a handful of best friends, really. And then I was like, oh, and I ran it by the editor at the Huffington Post because I'd met him before. And he was like, I'd be really interested in that. Send me the essay my way. And we put this thing together in just like 5 days. And he told me before he released it, he said, this is going to be it's out there in a very public way. Are you sure? And I was like, I think, I'm going to be out there publicly without an arm. I might as well be open about it and own this decision.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think that making that choice was good because I got so much supportive feedback that just outweighs but I hate saying this, but the idiots out there who are making comments that are just horrible.
Well, it's funny. I don't think you've ever been one of those idiots. I've definitely been an idiot. I mean, I've said things online to people that. So when it comes to me, I go, oh, I'm deserving of this. I couldn't tell you what I've said, but I'm certain I've said stupid things like I don't know. I watched a movie last night about a 25-year-old woman dating a 15-year-old boy, and I wanted to like comment, and then I was like, why? What the fuck am I commenting about? I was like, I wanted to comment and be like, are we supposed like? Is anyone else bothered by this?
I think we innately want to chime in as humans. We want to have an opinion.
And then I was like, first of all, that boy is an amazing actor. He's not 15, but he's an amazing actor.
Yeah.
That woman is an amazing fucking actress. I enjoyed the fucking movie. I have one hang up because I have little girls. So like I have one hang up. And then I'm like, what? Shut the fuck up, Bert. Everyone liked the movie. Like, what are you like? And I actually was like, I'm really good at not tweeting anything these days. I'm really proud of myself. Although I did tweet. I said, did anyone else see this movie? I couldn't help it.
I mean, we all do. I haven't necessarily done it so much on social media, but I've said my handful of stupid things in real life.
In real life, I do it all the time.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean,
in real life, on this podcast, I do it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I do it constantly.
So how long did you live? And was there a point where you're like, so this is my this is my now, this is where I am. I'm still going to swim. I'm curious, how difficult is it to swim with a limb you don't have, like a portion of a limb you don't have technical control over?
I swam. CU didn't have a swim team. They have a club swim team. So I swim on their team as a freshman. I'd never swam in my life before, but I just decided to join to meet people. So that's how I started. And then I really enjoyed it. And what
do you enjoy about swimming? Because I enjoy getting to the pool. I enjoy getting into the pool. And I enjoy getting out of the pool. But and I technically like swimming, but there is a part of it that is like really just staring at the bottom of a pool.
I really couldn't tell you what I enjoy about it sometimes because I hate getting in the pool. I'm at all times the last person in the pool. It's cold. I don't enjoy getting up so early to go jump in a cold thing. But
these are the things I do like.
Yeah, so I don't like those things. I do actually like staring at the bottom of that line. It just, I don't know, it always takes you home. It always takes you to a place. I'm an organized person.
Yeah.
So it feels controlled and stable. And it feels good. I don't know. I feel good when I do well in it. Like I just feel good. And I think what I mostly liked about it was when I found the Paralympics and that environment. And also the coach who came to see you at some point, she's the one who really helped me adapt my stroke to be able to swim with that arm. Yeah.
Do you have video of you swimming with your old arm?
Yeah, I do.
Is it online?
If you look far enough down on my Instagram, probably, yeah.
Because I was always curious to that because I have a bad shoulder, and then after my surgery, my arm has gotten my shoulder has gotten worse, and I can't even sleep on that side. I wake up in so much pain.
I'm sure shoulder pain is really bad. It's just I had really bad shoulder pain that came from because I would really over lean to this side, and then it was really a bit of a toss to get this arm around.
Really? So you were
Yeah.
literally using your shoulder to flip that arm over.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Is that you?
That's me.
For real?
Yeah, why?
It looks like a goddamn commercial. It's a fucking great fucking picture.
Oh, yeah, thank
I mean,
you.
holy shit. Did you have any prosthesis?
No, I didn't. I swim with a brace that I have a really bad phantom arm, so I keep thinking I'm like really pointing to a wrist that's there when I'm showing you right now.
Yeah.
But like I swam with a brace on before to like keep my wrist in place. And when that coach came to the team, she was like, "We're gonna try swimming without the brace," and she's the one who got me swimming without it. She was just incredible. Her name was Anne, and she just moved at the same time as I did, but I swam with her until my surgery.
Really?
She trained me while I was swimming for the Paralympics, and she was just one of those people who never worked with anyone who had a disability, but had a really creative mind, like a good MacGyver mind, who's like, I think we could make this work. How can we make this work?
I love those minds.
Yeah, just so great. And like I've encountered some of those minds like since having this accident, where people have come up with really creative solutions for me. And I just love that. I'm always so touched by it.
Yeah.
I've only gotten back in the pool once since my surgery though.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of normal, right? Like,
yeah, I've had a very bad phantom arm, and like phantom sensations and phantom pains have been really bad.
so wait, what is that? What is a
So it's just crazy. Like I really feel like my arm is there. Like right now, like reaching out, like today my elbow has been really itchy, but I don't have an elbow. It's insane. Yeah, it's a short one.
Oh, I can't tell at all. I can't. I mean, I really honestly don't know which arm I do now.
Yeah, it was that one. See, the hand didn't get any pull.
So then, were you using the what? I mean, it looks great.
I think the help I got out of it was to get some leverage to keep me steady, if anything, because I was bringing something around. It slowed me down in the sense that I really couldn't bring it around very quickly, so I didn't have a very quick turnaround on my stroke. Breaststroke I couldn't do, so I would leave it by my side for breaststroke. But yeah, it just became very heavy with the shoulder.
This sounds crazy, but one of the things I did when I first discovered you and got on your Instagram is do a deep dive on your pictures, and it was interesting to see that arm, to see that, like to see in a picture you'd be like this,
yeah,
and that one arm would just be like down,
yeah,
and there was a moment where I thought cosmetically it's an interesting decision cosmetically, because it's semi unnoticeable, like meaning you got to look for it almost.
It was a pretty unnoticeable thing, and it was crazy actually to live with that, because you just have this crazy like dichotomy of living with such a huge impairment, but also looking so incredibly quote unquote normal. And there would be times where like I would need help with something and people didn't necessarily know. Like tying my hair has always been a big thing for me. Like it's really hard to do. And if I was alone or I didn't have someone I knew who would do it, and I would have to ask someone, I had to give them an explanation as to why. And because they would look at me and think, why does this completely normal girl with 2 arms need someone to tie her hair? She's 25 years old. Yeah. So that was very interesting. Whereas now I have the situation where like, if I'm like, hey, could you, like whenever I buy ice cream, they always hand it to me and then on an ice cream cone, and then I can't pay for it because I'm holding it. So I'm always like,
thank you.
Yeah, I'm like,
thanks. That's the fucking thing. That's the thing that is the thing that I think is, I mean, is hilarious as a comic, is those little moments in life where
it's crazy.
That's fucking hilarious.
I think it's funny. I've had times where I've either cried over it or left and been like, this is the most ridiculous thing, where she hands me the ice cream cone, and I was out getting ice cream with my friend the other night and she handed it to me and I was like, actually, can you take it back? And I gave it back to her and I was like, now I want to pay you.
So what were the times where it was frustrating crying when you still had your arm? That was, I'm curious to the things that got you to the decision to remove your arm.
So actually the process of just being able to do it, because it's something that surgeons don't like to do. They don't want to do. And I had so many surgeons who said to me, well, some people just need to learn to live with what they've got, which I really hated that response. Because of course there's risks associated with any surgery, you know?
Well, are there?
I mean,
I
know,
know
when
that
you go,
said one of the things, I'm sorry, I move around a lot. One of the things you talked about was, oh yeah, this is a really big fucking surgery and there are complications and I'm not out of the woods. And
yeah, like a big consequence that, I've experienced is the phantom pain, which has brought me to tears after. January was a really hard month because it's something that no one really knows how to treat, because it's there. And when I had it, now I have a phantom sensation, like I can feel the arm, but it's not necessarily painful. But when I had it in January, it was like I really felt that the arm was there, and it felt like it was covered in raw blisters being rubbed on concrete at all times, or stabbed, or just like someone was like slicing across it, or like taking a cheese grater. It's like all these horrible things that you would feel so intensely. So, I mean, I guess like things like that are consequences, but I still don't regret it because I feel so much freer. I mean, I can move like this. I've had a hard time adjusting a little bit, I think, just because I'm tired, because I had the surgery and I like to undertake all the big things at once. So I decided to move within the 3 months that I had it out of state. But like, yeah, a lot of the things that really brought me to tears before was like, I want to get rid of this so badly. And like, that was a fight on its own to find a surgeon.
At what point did you realize you wanted to get rid of your arm?
I started to think about it maybe 4 years in.
4 years after the accident?
Yeah, like actually maybe a little bit once I joined the Paralympics, I'd say, because I was surrounded by all sorts of people with different disabilities. I got a lot more comfortable with the idea of an amputation because I was surrounded by amputees. I would go up to the Olympic Training Center, since that's in Colorado Springs, and I would swim with them. So it became a lot more of a comfortable idea because it's such a foreign concept that sometimes it seems like something like, oh my gosh, I could never do this. And I started to see how functional they were. And and I mean, they were amputees for various reasons. And I was like, I feel like I would be a lot more functional without this dead weight, because I was seeing that they could train in the gym, like do resistance bands or have a prosthesis that could help them hold on to something to lift weights, which like my arms are like noodles because I never trained my arms a whole lot. My legs were always my powerhouse. So I'd say like once I was swimming at the Paralympics was a big turning point for me to start making that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you come out saying I'm ready, but then doctors are saying no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There was a lot of no's. And I was actually shocked when I found the cert. Like I was going to do it at, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to name the hospital because I don't know, but it was a horrible experience there, at one of the hospitals in Colorado where they said, yes, we're going to do it. And like the surgeon who was going to do it was like, yes, I completely understand. You've done your research, because I'd met with prosthetists before to understand what my options would be after. And he was like, yeah, you have a completely sound mind. Yes, we'll do it. And then after that, I got a call and they said, actually, no. And then after that, we went back on it.
They test your mind to see if you're not crazy.
It was horrible. Like then they said no. And then they said, we want to send you into therapy. And I remember once when they said no, I broke down crying because I was, they had said yes and then no and yes and no. And that surgeon sent me in that day for counseling for body dysmorphia, which I thought was just a horrible attack because that's not why I was crying. It was just, it body plays with you.
Body dysmorphia.
Yeah. They sent me in that day. I cried and he sent me in to see a therapist to see if I was stable and if I was experiencing body dysmorphia, if that's the reason I wanted to cut off my arm. Like that I felt that aesthetically I would look better without my arm.
This is going to sound very naive. I'm not, there's no politics involved in this. It sounds like it's been pretty easy for kids to transition. But yet you're having a hard time simply removing a part of you that does not work.
Yeah. that was something that I think was that's really interesting that you bring up that concept, because it's something that I said privately, like to my mother, who has been there for me so hard throughout this process. And like, people can make decisions about their body to transition. And I have a very functional reason that I'm also asking. I'm not saying, hi, I think I would just look better without this arm. Could you please get rid of
Were there
it?
doctors saying that you like, no, it works?
They were just like, you know what? You're stable the way you are. Because they would see me, and I learned to function really well with one arm. I mean, I live alone and I can do my hair.
I'm dying to know what it was like to talk to you before your arm was removed, because in all the pictures, it's kind of just there in your lap, but you are extremely animated with your arm. Like you are, as I'm talking to you, do you feel like that a part of your personality is allowed to come back out again now that you can move your arm around?
Yeah, so much. So much. I feel so much freer taking pictures. Like I was always trying to hide it sometimes in pictures because I feel like I didn't know what to do with it. And like now if I take pictures, I'm like, I can have both my arms up in the air.
Yeah, because you couldn't before.
Yeah, it's so much easier to put t-shirts on. I can like sometimes if I do my hair up with like a clip, I can reach back and like hold my hair in place, and I could never do that before. So I think think that's so freeing.
So then the doctor sends you in for body dysmorphia. You're talking with your mom about this, and was there a point you were like, I give up, I guess I got to keep my arm?
I was so determined. I was like, I feel so unhappy with this arm that I need to not live with it. And like, I was like, there will be no other way. I was absolutely like, there will be no other way. And I vented a lot too. I met like Diane, Neal, who used to play on Law and Order, and we became really good friends. And she was
that was an interesting text when you were like, hey, Diane, Neal might be coming with me. I was like, bring her.
Yeah,
we'll open a bottle of white wine. Let's chat.
She couldn't make it at the very last minute because she had something come up. But like up until the last minute, like she was gonna come, but we're such good friends. She lives across the street from me, and she has been a rock for me. And it's just so interesting how we met. And
how'd you meet?
I was interested in her story, and since I write, I just reached out to her and said like, hey, I want to know a little bit more about your story. I really don't have a story in mind. I'm really just interested in you as a person. And
just her path in acting? Yeah,
and just like things that she's gone through in her life. And with like, she's experienced different situations that I don't know if I want to bring up. Yeah, but like
it's not public. It's not written.
I mean, some of the things were public. Yeah. And I was just interested in her story, and I reached out, and I think we immediately just clicked, and I felt very comfortable. And I like randomly told her about my arm, and like now we've known each other for like a year, but I feel like I've known her forever.
Yeah,
it's so interesting. But so I talked to her a lot, and I was like, Diane, like there will be no other way. Like there can't. And
pull up a picture of Diane Neal just so that anyone can put a face to a name. Keep going. I'm so sorry.
No, but yeah, so I was just really determined. And then eventually I found I made an appointment, because COVID was happening. So then after that.
Oh shit. Now then COVID kicks in, and you're like.
That was another reason, a big reason for them saying no. So the hospital who had said yes, no, then they said yes, and then they said no with no explanation. And then after that surgeon said, I mean, try a private practice. They might be able to do it because they have less restrictions because of COVID. So I made an appointment at this place, and someone who used to swim with me in college reached out to me on Instagram and said, hey, I saw you were on our books. I'm his assistant.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, what a small world. And I went in there, and it was a great vibe. And the surgeon, I felt like he was on the same page. And he said, yeah, we can schedule you next week. And I was just like,
what? So all of a sudden, it's like, I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but like, I analogize it to this. This is a moron analogy. But every guy wants to go to a bar to get laid in college. But any guy who gets there and a girl walks up within 15 minutes and goes, let's go to your place right now, every guy's like, fuck this. That's not what I was looking for. So like, was there an analogy? Was there a moment where you're like, oh shit, next week?
No, I was so happy that like, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to show too much happiness because I don't want him to think that this isn't normal. It was such a crazy balance to find, because if I would act too sad, they would think I was too emotional. If I was too put together,
So now you have
wasn't
now you're
emotional
forced to hide your real feelings because of the way the fucking world. I feel like that when I drink on an airplane. Like when I drink on an airplane, I go, I want to listen to music and cry, but I'm not like, if I'm not, it fucking. I know the feeling.
Yeah. You're like, I have to control it, but this is how I feel.
Well, I'm watching this movie with The Rock, Walking Tall, and I'm sobbing, crying, and she thinks it's because I'm drunk. I'm like, it's a good fucking movie. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
I know I got to wear sunglasses when I cry. I like crying a lot lately.
I can relate to that. I've had a lot of that after my arm, and I don't quite understand the emotion where it's coming from because I'm so elated that this is done. You know, I'm not like crying because I lost my arm or things like that, but maybe it's just a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
But when he said, okay, next week, I was actually supposed to go stay at Diane's house and watch her cat over Thanksgiving. So I was so hesitant to do this, but I was like, can we do it after Thanksgiving? And they were like, no problem. So they put me on the books for December 2nd, and I got COVID over Thanksgiving while I was staying at Diane's house.
Oh, Jesus.
I couldn't believe it. I was like
you got
like
the good
so
COVID
crushed.
though, right? The Omicron?
Yeah, no, I lost I think I got the original variant because I lost all my taste and smell.
Really?
Yeah, which I heard people weren't experiencing with Omicron.
You're like, old hat, baby. I lost the feeling in my arm. I think I can deal with some not smelling shit.
It was weird, honestly. I did not enjoy that.
Did you get it back?
I did get it back, but there's something that stayed. I get this weird, bitter, metallic taste with a lot of things that like I used to love. It's actually like a lot. Like I don't know, like a lot of carbs.
Oh, Jesus.
I like pizza.
I love pizza.
I could eat pizza all day, every day.
I have a problem with pizza. Like if it's in our fridge, I will just eat it.
Yeah, me too.
And I'll lie to myself. I'll put one piece in the microwave, and I'll put the bag out on the the Ziploc bag of pizza on the counter, and be like, I'm just gonna have one piece. I'll put that back. But then I know full well
you're gonna annihilate it.
Oh, I murdered half a pizza last night before we got tacos. I have tacos in there. I'm excited about eating tacos today.
Like I want pizza. I'm like, now I want pizza. I always want pizza. Like I'm I'm like not a big person, and like
your shoes are deceptive. Because when you walked in, I was like, she's taller than I thought. But I watched you have you had a pair of shoes that you like got ready for your after surgery shoes. Was it these or was it my Converse? I think it was Converse.
It was those white Converse with chunky soles.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. My daughter Anna would love them.
Oh, they're so cool. But yeah, no, like I had a lot of like taste for things that got weird. A lot of vegetables taste really weird.
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah. Thank God pizza stayed okay, but like a lot of the carbs did not stay okay for me. Really? But like, yeah, it's very strange. So that's what I stayed with COVID. But while I had COVID, I just really had like that time to freak out before my surgery alone. And that's when I put the article together, and they only pushed my surgery a week. So it turned out being okay.
And so how was the reception to the article? Because you talked about the negative feedback you got from people of like, you should really consider.
People innately always have an opinion, like how you were saying, like, oh, I want to comment on things. And I think it's just human nature. I think it's natural. So like, I wasn't necessarily always mad when people would, but I think when you tell people one-on-one, they feel the need to put an opinion in instead of just supporting you. And I'm like, you don't have to support it at that point. Maybe just don't say anything. But if you want to support it, but you don't necessarily have to put an opinion in. But I think people always felt that they had to, or they would be like, so what about your tattoo? Like, where's it going to go? And I was going to be cut off.
You had a tattoo on that side?
Yeah, it was my first one. It was a lotus.
It's a great way to get rid of one though.
Right? Just,
No, you should tell people that. What happened to your arm? Oh, I had this tattoo I was not a fan of, and I just was like, I'm not going to cover it up. I just get rid of the arm.
I've been like telling people that I was on Tiger King.
Yeah, that girl lost her arm in Tiger King. I started thinking about that. Bethany Hamilton. You know who that is?
Yeah.
Of course you do. I'm assuming you'd know it.
She's just such a, she's just been leading the charge in wanting to advocate for also like amputees and disabilities too. So
she is a world-class surfer. Withholding anything. She is a world-class surfer.
Yeah.
She is a world-class surfer when she had two arms and with one arm. She is a world-class surfer.
She just stuck to it. She got it done. Like
You should. Do you know her?
I've never spoken to her, and I think I would love to because she just seems lovely.
You have to go surfing with her.
Yeah,
She has to teach you how to surf. You're a big water person,
right?
Let's set this up. If anyone, I know a few people who might know her.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
If anyone's listening to the podcast that knows Bethany Hamilton, let's set this up. And I know a couple people that may know her, but that would be great. That would be great.
I would love to be able to meet her because I really want to do more writing and also be a part of this generation of people who are leading a new voice for the disability community. And she's just a pioneer in it. So
she is
to
a
meet
hardcore
her,
pioneer.
yeah, because I mean, I feel like this is a movement that's really started to spiral a little bit in the last couple of years as other social issues arise as well. Yeah. And so like having a voice who's like one of the first voices in that and who has been so strong in leading that charge and who has stuck to what she believes in for herself, stuck to her sport, it would be just incredible.
All right. I'll make that a personal goal of mine to make sure I can. I know I'm pretty sure I could probably set it up.
I appreciate it.
But I think she is I watched a documentary on her. Did you watch a documentary on her?
I've seen like the movie that they did, but I heard that they just did a documentary called
really
Unstoppable,
it's
which
really fucking great.
That's on my list of things to watch because she's incredible. She's a great voice.
She's a mom. She's got a bunch of kids. She's got a good-looking husband. This fucking lady's got it dialed in.
Yeah, she does. And I love it. I think like a big
Aaron Ralston. Do you know who Aaron Ralston is?
Yes.
Aaron Ralston?
Yes.
You want to go rock climbing with Aaron Ralston?
I do not. I'm very afraid of heights.
I can set that up.
I will emotionally support him while he goes rock climbing.
No, here's the deal. Here's what I see for you. I think you I'm trying to think of the name of the show first. But I would love for you to go and meet people with disabilities that are excelling at the highest rate, at the highest level, and them to bring you in because you are a Paralympic swimmer. And so it's like almost like you're like Aaron Ralston. I can definitely set up Aaron Ralston.
It would be so cool to go around and join people in their activities.
He's in Colorado. He's in Boulder, actually.
He is.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, that doesn't surprise me if he's a climber. That's people are so outdoorsy there. That wouldn't surprise me. It would be really. I mean, I've always been like, I want to try indoor rock climbing.
When did you move to New York?
Like 3 weeks ago.
Sweet. Were you in Denver this whole time?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Are you serious?
Yeah, I had my surgery in Denver, and then after that it was actually very stressful because I was packing up my apartment as I was recovering and I needed to be out because, my lease was ending and then my new lease was starting.
Oh, Jesus.
I stayed with my mom for a bit in between. But it was, I would not recommend getting a huge surgery or a limb chopped off and then moving in like the 2 to 3 months that follow.
I think I can probably concur with that.
I've been like pulling my hair out with I just finished unpacking my boxes 5 days ago. And then my best friend came to stay because it was my birthday and she's staying with my dog while I'm here. It's been a lot.
Well, I'm in New York, I think Wednesday.
Really?
I'm in New York next week and then the week after. And then I think the week after that also.
Are you doing a show?
I'm doing shows.
Oh my gosh, I would love to come to your show.
I would love to have you at my show. I'm doing, of course. I'm doing a show in Brooklyn.
Oh, you're pretty close then. I'm in the financial district. So I'm way downtown.
King's Theater. Yeah.
King's Theater?
I'm at King's Theater, so I'd love to have you come and please bring Diane and
Diane would.
You can bring in whoever you want. I'll comp as many tickets as you want.
Oh, thank you.
It's gonna be you, Cameron, and Jim Jones. You follow hip hop at all?
I do not.
Well, you better start listening.
Okay.
Cameron and Jim Jones.
I think you're gonna have to DM me all these names because there's so many. Nikki Glazer, and now you're telling me all the names.
Taylor Tomlinson. These are the people I need to introduce you to.
Okay, I've heard of Taylor Tomlinson.
You know Taylor Tomlinson?
Whitney seems amazing. I follow Whitney. She seems so cool.
She is. She is fucking cool.
I would Whitney seems awesome. Just unrestrained.
Oh, Whitney is unrestrained.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done some 5-hour podcasts with Whitney where we're like, don't worry, we're gonna edit 3 hours out of that.
I really like being an honest person. I'm honest to a fault. And Like I just honest to a fault. So I'm trying to rein it in a little bit.
No,
today.
stay. Look, Whitney's honest to a legit fault.
I'm terrible. Like I mean,
I wouldn't even say to a fault. That's a bad way to represent it.
No.
Because I love Whitney's honesty.
Being honest is great.
I love Whitney's honesty. Whitney is one of my favorite people because she's just fucking real. Like I don't know. I love her to death. But yeah, you Whitney, Taylor, Nikki, Aaron Ralston, Jim Jones. This is the list of people. By the way, what a fucking bizarre bus of people this would be. But yeah, well, I'll have you in Brooklyn. We'll have a good time.
Oh my gosh, that would be so
I'll get
cool.
pizza for backstage.
Oh great, I'll be there. I'm there then.
Do you drink?
Yes.
You go. Oh yeah.
I'm a very lightweight though. They made me like my graduating shot glass from the swim team was one and done because that's me. That is really, really me. If I have 2 drinks, I'm like, woo! The first time I drank it in college, the very first time I got drunk off of 1 mimosa, and then I went to a house party and told everyone I was a mermaid.
Really?
Yeah, that was my first time getting drunk.
That's I'm not that much of a lightweight. It takes a couple for me. I threw a bottle of wine back last night and smoked a blunt.
If I did that, I wouldn't even be here today.
This podcast is sponsored to you by Rhoback. If you're first hearing of Rhoback right now, get ready. You're about to be flooded. These are the most comfortable hoodies. They've got hoodies. They've got Q-zips. They've got polos. We had a box of Rhoback. I was first introduced to Rhoback by Barstool. I went over to Barstool. It was in New York. I needed a hoodie, and I think Big Cat gave me one. I want to say it was Big Cat. He was like, "Hey man, you have Rhoback?" And I had a box of Rhoback delivered to my house. I threw on the Rhoback. I was fucking comfortable the entire day. You can see me. I'm wearing it all the podcast. I think it's gray, maybe white. Anyway, I come back. We go to a lacrosse game. I have a Rhoback box in the back of my truck. They're a podcast sponsor. The lacrosse game's cold. I pull out the performance hoodie. I give it to my dad. I take the Q-zip, which are incredibly comfortable. Great for like a run or if you want to go out on a date night. Everyone's fucking outed on Rhoback. My dad then steals the box and takes their performance polos. If you're not a polo guy, these are the polos for you. They're fucking, let me tell you exactly. They're the only polos that I wear. Even if you're not a polo guy, these polos are made to make polos look cool. The material's amazing. The prints are fucking on fire. And the fit is unbeatable. I'm telling you right now, you are going to hear about Rhoback. Chris DiStefano is the guest host on Two Bears in a couple weeks. He's wearing a Rhoback. And what's cool is you see their subtle design of a Rhodesian Ridgeback, which is one of the baddest fucking dogs on the planet, apart from Bull Mastiffs. And like I saw it and I was like, oh, Rhoback, cool. You'll see the design. I'm telling you, get on Rhoback now. Fucking insanely comfortable. I love my Rhoback. And my dad now is buying them for himself. And he's using my promo code. So do yourself a favor. Use the promo code MACHINE on Rhoback.com for a generous 20% off your first order. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. That's 20% off your first order on all polos, Q-zips, and hoodies and tees with the code MACHINE just in time for the warm weather. I want to spell it for you. RHOBACK, and you'll recognize the badass dog on your shoulder. I've been smoking a lot of blunts lately, and I'm thinking about bringing some on tour with us. I really enjoy smoking a blunt and just enjoying it, like letting it burn out and then relighting it.
Does it just like the experience that just feels good?
It's the smell. Here, do you smoke marijuana?
I do not.
I'm not going to light one. I'm just going to let you smell it.
You can light it. I'm not like a person who cares if people smoke it around me. I just feel like I don't feel great on it.
So
also, they would test us with swimming, so I didn't.
Yeah, I can't wear my glasses. I think this is a joint. This is from El Blunto. These are my favorite blunts. I'd want to open one of these, but I'm afraid I break the seal. They smell.
If you break the seal, does it change the potency when you smoke it?
No. It's just. I wish I had a cheap blunt. These are really high-end blunts that El Blunto gave me. They're all covered in like keef and stuff. Here's mushrooms. Thought about microdosing mushrooms?
I've never done that before, ever.
Andy Frasco from Denver. Do you know who Andy Frasco is?
Mm-mm.
He's from Denver. He's a musician. He left mushrooms here. And one day when I'm thinking about taking mushrooms a lot lately because I'm afraid of death. So, and I'm like really afraid of death. And but I think once again we're going back to Bert. That void I'm finding in myself right now, I think it's a fear of death. I think it's and then that's why my lifestyle is.
What about it are you fearful of? If I'm allowed to ask.
No, you're allowed to ask. I can't believe you need to ask. Yeah, it's the darkness,
I mean, no, but
the
like,
fact
is
that
it
everyone
like,
keeps partying and I gotta stop.
Yeah, you just don't like but like, some people are afraid of like, does the life continue, or is it more like I'm enjoying my life so much that I don't want it to stop?
Oh, I'm enjoying my life so much I don't want it to stop. That's number one. I'm really really insanely happy. Like I was saying to my wife, it's interesting because the happiest I've ever been was the brokest we ever were. I remember one time I was on a TV show and I had a nice car. I had like really nice car and I had a Jason Williams jersey on and it was winter in Los Angeles is really great. It's windy. It's kind of a little bit like today, windy, and it feels clean and fresh.
Yeah.
And I was driving around and I was on Franklin over by Vine. And I was like, and I had everything. I had TV shows and I had everything you'd ever want. And I thought, and I was dating a chick and I was like, is this it? Like, it just feels like, I was like, I got everything. I got all the things you're supposed to want, but it doesn't feel very good. Like, if it doesn't feel like it should, I should be in a very good mood. And I'm in an okay mood, but it's not better than I've ever felt. I felt better.
Were you setting the bar very high for yourself so you were looking for more?
I've set the bar as high as I ever could for myself every single moment.
I find myself doing that a lot too, so that's why I ask.
I am a high bar setter. I want everything to be spilling out of my mouth. I want everything to be overwhelming me. If it's great, I want it to be better, everything. And then one day we were broke. We were living in an apartment building that my wife was managing. That's how we paid our rent. I was not touring a great deal. We had 2 girls. I hadn't started headlining yet, which was like, it's like a really weird place to be in. So I'd done television, but all the money had gone away. And my wife asked me to go get milk. And I went and I've told the story before and I'm sure, but I went and got a Tall Boys, like a Foster's oil can and a gallon of milk. And I was on my skateboard and I think I was listening to Spoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I was skateboarding and my wife saw me skateboarding down our street. It was probably like 10 o'clock at night. And I remember thinking, this is the happiest I've ever been. And we were scraping money together to get milk and a Tall Boy. And I remember buying the Tall Boy going like, I shouldn't buy this, but look at it. It's a beautiful night. And I was in such a great mood.
You can find such happiness in these moments and these small things though. Yeah.
And my wife said to me, she saw me skateboarding down the street and I was just kind of like swerving and smiling and singing. And I those times, other than right now, at that point, life got really fucking happy.
Yeah.
And the path I've been on, I am ecstatic. The difference is I was really happy, broke and doing nothing. Like I did in a weird way. I've gotten this ambition about me that I don't know where it's not authentic to me. Like, it's not like I'm not the most ambitious guy, but nowadays I have this ambition of working and providing and doing more. And adversely, I'm much more compassionate.
Yeah.
I never had that before. I've never.
Do you feel like your happiness has gone uphill from there too? Like,
yeah,
just from that moment.
Yeah, it's been on a nice path. I mean, there's been times that it's been down.
There's always times.
But like I've gotten my friend groups really tight.
Yeah.
And I trust.
That's so important. I think having a good friend group is really important. I left that behind in Denver. So
wait, do you have any like what's your group of friends look like in New York?
No one. I don't know any. I mean, I know Diane, like
Yeah.
who lives across the street from me, and I don't know. She's such a cool friend. She's great. I like just I don't know. She just feels like a sister.
I'm trying to
And
think if I know anyone your
Yeah.
age that lives in New York.
yeah,
that I
my
could
best
go.
friend just came out to see me, so I haven't really been alone yet. But I had my friend group in Denver because 4 of us, we all lived in the same neighborhood. It was my best friend Zoe, we're Zoe and Chloe, and her sister, and our other friend. We all lived close, and so we were like a tight knit group of 4 girls, and that was really
Me and you
nice.
could solve mysteries. Chloe and Doey.
Chloe and Doey, Chloe.
So you're brand new to New York now.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized that.
Yeah, no, I'm brand new. Like I think I just wanted to like make that switch. Like I think I made a lot of hard switches. Like I know it's where I needed to be. It's where I wanted to be.
For writing.
Yeah. I think the connections are a lot better there. All my work is remote, so I'm like, it's a move that I was ready to make. And, Denver was comfortable. It was comfortable, but I think sometimes you need to be uncomfortable. And I just did 2 really uncomfortable things at once.
You really did.
Yeah.
That pays off though.
I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping that this big leap is just something that I like needed to hustle and do, and that I need to be strong and stay through. And, now I'm getting back to work, and I'm excited because I'm working on a few articles for Limb Loss Awareness Month next month, which is exciting. And I'm just getting back to it. And I do love that city so much. Like I love New York. I love people there. I think people are great. So, I'm pretty social. I'm confident that I'm going to make friends, but I'm gonna have to get out of my comfort zone.
I'm certain you're gonna make friends. I'm certain you're gonna make friends. That's part of New York. It's making friends and
People
making
are
new
very
friends.
social there. Like I think they're so kind. I always had this, you see people who tell you, oh, New Yorkers are always hustling. Like they can be aggressive. I have never met such kindness. I think they're so nice. You can talk to anyone. I've gotten lost on the subway like about only 150 times so far. And every time
The
I
fucking
ask,
subway.
oh
Don't
my
get me
God.
started.
I feel so proud now when I do something right on it though, and I actually make it to my destination on time or when I want to. I'm like, you are so good.
Well, there's a thing when I moved to New York, we called it Mary Tyler Moore syndrome,
Mhm.
where you get to a place where you start succeeding using the city, where you're like for me, I started with buses. Like I know that sounds so silly, but being underground, I felt like I wasn't learning the city.
Yeah.
And so I started on buses, and it was the bus, I forget the bus line, but it went up 3rd Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could figure out, I figured out like the East Village, the Lower East Side, whatever it is right above.
The geography is so something to figure out.
Yeah, yeah. And then when I moved over to the West Village, I learned the A, C, and E line.
Mm-hmm.
And then now when I'm there, I walk everywhere. I either walk or it's a car service. I love walking in New York. I love it. I love walking. I make that my workout, and I walk. Yeah. I enjoy it so much. And usually, last time I was there, I stayed in my bus, but I always stay in Soho. Soho is my favorite place in the world.
I love Soho. It's so cool.
Well, you got to come out. We got to take you out drinking, and you know what I got to do is
I would love that.
Well, I'll take you out drinking. I'll bring you up to the Comedy Cellar and introduce you to some comics. And comics aren't the best people, but they're really interesting people. And I think you're an interesting person. As a writer, I think they're good people to know. And
I would love to. I think that's a world that I've been jonesing to be a part of because I think it's very interesting, and I think that comics are very interesting people, and they share their stories in a very interesting way, which is kind of shares a path with writing.
28, 29, and 30, I'm in New York.
Okay.
We'll be going out at night and doing fun stuff at night, and I will just text you every night. And if you want to come out with us any night, if we go out to dinner, it'll be a group of us. So it'll be probably my assistant Peter, who I wish you had met. He's when does Peter get here? Do you know? My assistant Peter, you've got to fucking meet Peter. He's your age, and he is the greatest dude in the world.
He's lots of fun.
And Italian.
Really?
Yeah, and he's just a very sweet guy.
He's
amazing. A very sweet guy. So yeah, so we'll text you every night, and any night you want to come out with us.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
We'll take you along.
Is it okay if I bring along my best friend? She's staying with me until
100%.
Actually, wait. When are you gonna be in town? You said
28, 29, 30, and then I'm in
Oh.
town 31, 32. But
she's actually gonna just be gone. So yeah.
okay. Well, when we get in town, I don't know where I think we're staying in Soho. That's where I usually stay. But
it's pretty easy. It's like super easy to get there from where I am. Yeah, because I'm way downtown. I'm in the
and
financial
we'll take you out and introduce you to some comics and just introduce you to people that are your age that are fun.
That would be a blast.
Yeah, because you're new to the city. That's what people should do.
Oh, I would really appreciate that. I'm like very touched that you would do that because
No, of course. Well, I feel like I know you very well because I've been watching your journey online, and like I said, I feel privileged to be one of the people to share it. That's one of the cooler things about Instagram is following stuff. Is like my buddy Jay Larson put in an outdoor shower this weekend, and I enjoyed watching him do that. I enjoyed
social media can be very toxic, but I think it can be so positive, because like you have, of course, the part that's toxic, which I think I'm trying to just choose to not let it affect me because I think that for me, the positivity that's come out of it is greater.
Yeah.
Like I got some crazy DMs from that article. I had some people ask me if I would donate my arm to them. Believe it or not, that was like multiple DMs of people asking me. And then after that, I even had one who DM'd me and went to my website to send me an email and be like, hey. And then after that, I like it because they like end it and they like, we realize this is a strange request. And I was like, I'm glad you realized that. I was like, how would you even set that up? Like I would go to my surgeon and be like, hey, so I want to set this up because these people want my arm.
Wait,
so
what happened to the arm?
I disposed of properly along with medical waste, which means zero, like it's burned.
Yeah, that is crazy. I am a kind of person that would have wanted to keep it.
I'm not, because I really don't like the human body. It grosses me out. I hate that stuff. I didn't look at my scar for so long. I still don't like to touch it very much because like I just don't.
Is there another scar under there?
Yeah, they did a procedure called TMR, which is supposed to help with the phantom pain, where they basically take the nerves and instead of just severing the nerves, right? They take them and tell me if I'm grossing you out. To the
No.
But,
can I tell you that it soothes me to look at your arm because when I was a little boy, there was a girl who had lost her arm, and they had and I think about this a lot, and they had do you ever see like the end of like a liverwurst package where it's like it's got like a steel thing on it.
Yes.
So like she had a steel thing on it, and I remember seeing it and going like, oh. And so when I started following you, I was like, I wanted to see what they did. So I've been looking at your scar, and it's kind of soothing.
I made a TikTok of how I put on my compression sleeve by myself.
I watched.
Did you? I had so many people who commented, "Oh, it looks like the sausage rolls at the store." Like once the compression sleeve is on it, because I don't know, there's a little twisty.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I was like, I know exactly what you mean.
I remember seeing that as a little boy and being like, "Whoa!" And I wondered, is that what do they put like a steel pin to like? I didn't know how they did it.
I think it differs per person. She might have had a pin that would have
like
also
fucking 40 years ago.
Yeah, so maybe the technologies are different. I don't know if it like allowed her to wear a prosthesis sometimes that would hook onto it or something.
So can you get a prosthesis?
Yeah, so my prosthetist is working on it. I was actually supposed to have it before I moved. I was pretty frustrated that I didn't, but it didn't quite get finished. Some things went wrong. They sent him. So he wanted to put a hook on it because we were making a very basic prosthesis for the first one so that I could just have something that's like I can wear in the gym and things. But I really didn't want the hook because I didn't like it. And I got a lot of Captain Hook comments on social media, which I let those affect me and I didn't love it. So I told him there's got to be an alternative to a hook for just a hand, for like a body powered hand. And he was like, okay. And he found the hand and they sent him the child size hand. And I have pretty large hands also. So
you do have large hands.
And also I wanted it. It was
hilarious.
I have a picture of it. Like I'll show you after this on my phone. I put it in my hand. It was like, it fit like in the palm of my hand. It was so small. And they sent him, I said they have one that just has a black sleeve on it. And since my prosthesis, I picked like colors that have some black in it. I was like, I just want the hand to be black because I didn't want to have like colors and then a black arm and then a different colored harness and then a weird whatever they call skin tone hand, cosmetic hand. But they sent him the cosmetic color, which I'm sorry, but if anyone's skin is that color, I'm like, are you okay? It was like greenish. Like it was like green. And I was like, what is this? So that was one of the things that went wrong with it. That was just like one.
So then I'm curious what happens to Chloé Toscano. Like I'm wondering, so you'll get a prosthesis and then what do you want to do? What's your goal? Like what, meaning not just with your body, meaning with your life. Like what do you want to write? I would assume you'd write a book about this.
I'd love to write a book. So I accidentally fell into the journalism niche. And I love it. So I think it's a great way to get just quick ideas down. Article writing is just a great way to quickly connect with sources. So that's something I really want to grow in. And writing about some broader issues as well that just surround disability, but aren't just focused on what I've experienced. So that's something I'd like to grow. I really want to write a book. I've had a lot of people say, like, are you going to write a memoir? Like, I'd love to read the story. And I don't know that I really want to do that because I'd like the story to be a little bit more farther reaching.
Well, if I may, I know that I am more than the guy that tore his tricep.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
a little bit of a bigger person than just one. I'll tell you a perfect example is I don't even want to talk about it because there's certain things about my life that people highlight that I go, I think I'm more than that. And sometimes people want to go, but yeah, that's who you are, right? And you're like, I think I've earned the right to
You don't want to sequester yourself and box yourself into that space,
Yeah.
And I think like the moment on that I would write, if I would write just a book about my experience, I would be like that girl who made her life about her arm. And like, I don't think there's anything wrong about like
it's not Bethany Hamilton.
No, there's
not
nothing
Bethany
wrong.
Hamilton. Bethany Hamilton lost her arm.
This has guided my path no matter what. Like that does, so like that I own, but like I would really like to write a book. I know this is really weird and I've never said this, but I made up a fiction character in my head when I was in the first grade. And she's really helped me in my life because I always told myself, if I've always made her life a little bit harder whenever I've been going through something difficult, I've put her in a situation where she's going through something that I feel would be a little bit harder. And I feel like as long as she's there and she keeps growing, and she has to keep growing as long as I'm here too.
Wow, this is fascinating.
And so I think that like when I was going through my amputation, I was really tested when I was struggling to find someone to do the amputation. And I was like, am I going to live with this arm forever? But I put her in a situation where I feel like it got a little bit harder for her and I let her thrive. And I told myself, as long as she's here and as long as she's making it, I can do it, because I want to say that like, she's like everything I want to be. And so
that's
like,
an amazing way to cope and to deal with life.
So I'd like to write a book about her story, and I don't know how I would frame it exactly. It's an idea that I'm really throwing around in my head.
That's brilliant because it's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. There's so many ways to approach it, but I love the story of a almost you're writing a memoir for your imaginary friend.
Yeah.
That sounds like not to.
Her life has always run parallel to mine, right? And like she's grown with me. When I was in the first grade, she was my age, and she's really just grown with me. And
that's really creative. I like
it's
that a
helped,
lot.
and like it's really helped. Oh, thank you. I mean,
I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
It's an idea that I'm working on drafting right now to get an outline.
Oh, I like that a lot. Especially if I like that it's a biography about your imaginary friend's the wrong way to say it, but technically you're doing a biography, and it would be very fascinating, written from the perspective of Chloé, about this friend of yours who is, your life has been tough and you've dealt with things, but it's always been tougher for her.
I think it can make it bigger and maybe like explore a different coping mechanism for anyone who's not necessarily just going through this. And I think that it could be a little bit more far reaching. I know that sometimes when you have a big story and then you turn it into a fiction, it can take power away from it. But I think that in this case, I'd like it to be allow fiction into it to make it more far reaching. So that's an idea that I've played around with, and I think that it's something that could grow. Because it's just an idea that's been in my head that I've never said out loud to anyone.
It's a brilliant idea. I love it. Well, I love ideas. My wife says I like to get in the pants of creativity. Like I love I like that part of a relationship of just, the heavy petting of a relationship. And my wife says I love the heavy petting of creativity. I don't like the commitment of creativity.
I can see that from you. You threw a lot of really wonderful parallels out here. Like every time I've like mentioned something, you've paralleled it to something that like is really creative, and I love parallels. So like, I think that's really great. And I'm
nervous to take you around comics because there's so many dark souls, and you seem like you have such a bright soul.
I have a dark soul too.
Do you? What kind of music do you
like? David Bowie all the way.
David Bowie is fucking awesome.
Like he's just my everything.
Really?
Like I think like Heroes, just like, oh my gosh, like I just like, it's my favorite song in the world, but I can't listen to it because I'm like crying when I hear it. I love Heroes so much. It's just my everything song. I just play it on loop.
Really?
Yeah. I like classic rock. I'm like a big like Rolling Stones person.
Yeah.
But like David Bowie's like my number one of everything.
That's so funny. I go through phases of like, I went through a Bowie phase, like meaning a chunk, like for a week. Right now I'm obsessed with Kanye. I'm listening to all Kanye's early stuff.
Really? Yeah.
And then listening to all the beats he produced. And like, I just watched that documentary on Kanye. So I'm like,
I'm not super familiar with his work. I think I fall in love with albums as well too. Like just albums. Like I like the Rolling Stones, but like I love Beggar's Banquet.
Yeah. That's your favorite album?
Yeah.
So I will have one song that will just blossom for me, and then I'll become obsessed with an album. Like the other day I'm sitting in the house and my wife just plays, she'll be like, Alexa, play Southern rock, or Alexa, play old country. Alexa, play Hank Williams Senior. And so that's my wife's old country, but all Americana, Southern rock, old country, or the Beatles. My wife loves the fucking Beatles. And the other day, Soft Parade came on by the Doors.
Oh my God.
And I was
love
like,
the Doors.
And I was just like, it's amazing when like a song will catch you off guard, and all of a sudden it's like they're whispering in your ear. Like the lyrics are meant for that. They've never been clearer than that moment. I love when life does that. Like when life will slow down, and for a second everything's going at the right vibration.
Yeah. I so believe in just like I don't know, serendipity.
I hardcore believe in serendipity.
I've
already had 3 parallel spinoffs of you. Like at one point, because I was like, in my head, I'm like, God, I want her to introduce her to Gary Goldman. Gary's such a great energy. And then I was like, oh my God, what if I introduce her to a comic and they fall in love and they get married and then they have kids, and then for the rest of their lives they're like, God, thank God Bert read my article. Like I think of life like that. I really do. I'm obsessed with the sliding doors of life and opportunities. And that's why silly things like my daughter Isla and I had a conversation about you last night. We were going to get Mexican food, and it was really kind of eye-opening. And all of a sudden she told me something she had said to me one time, and I started laughing, and I went, God damn it, that's going to my special. Like I gotta
I've
work that on
listened to some
stage.
of your specials, and she sounds amazing. Your daughters sound amazing. Everything Lila says that you've said, I'm like, oh my goodness.
I wanted them to meet you today. What has happened with me and my daughters is this is gonna sound crazy, but like the part of me that was broken as a single dude, as a guy who would date girls, the guy I didn't like has reared its head with my daughters. Because I met my wife. My wife's the most open, honest, very direct, very loving, amazing fucking person. I love my wife. She was different than the type of girls I would date. The type of girls I would date would be somewhat deceptive. And so when that showed up, it wasn't the girls I liked. It was a couple girls I ended up dating were just deceptive.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the ones that shut me off from dating entirely until I met my wife.
Yeah.
And so I never really fixed that part of me. I just found someone who wasn't that type of person.
Yeah.
And then when a young lady or a teenage girl decides that she wants to do dirt, like go out and sneak out with her friends or whatever, it rears up on me as the guy that got cheated on. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a fucking spiral. I had a spiral the other morning. And I mean, it was like fucking insane. I mean, I was like, and I said to my wife, I think she's cheating on us. And she went, what? And I meant to say, I think she's lying to us.
Yeah. It was just a parallel
It
scenario
came out,
for
it
you.
came,
So
and
it brought
my
that
wife,
out.
she was like, hold on one second. She's like, what the fuck are you going through? And I was like, what did I say? And they're being really great kids, but my brokenness is rearing its head. I don't know how we got on this, but I tracked them everywhere.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's things that happen stay with us. I mean, like things like I haven't spoken to my father since I was 18, but like things that happen definitely stay with us.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you an only child?
I am, yes.
You are?
Yeah. My mom and I have always been super close. Because, she's like, my dad left when I was pretty young and like when I was 2 or 3. And
left.
yeah. Like,
Okay.
well, he was a chef and he would move around. And then after that, like he left to go live in Puerto Rico. But yeah, so I was with my mom. Like for me, he was never really that much in the picture. But like, things that happen when you're younger, like since he left so early, I don't remember it, but I have such a hard time with separation.
I have a hard time with separation.
Yeah, I freak out. Like suddenly it's like I immediately get more attached to someone just because they're leaving.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah. And so things stay. So I mean, when you're feeling those scenarios, I feel like it's like you've lived it and it can stay with you.
So when do you go back to New York?
Actually I'm going back tonight. I'm taking the red eye.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I have a work deadline.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what are you doing the rest of the day?
I don't know. Just gonna I don't have any plans actually.
Well, you should go see something or do. Is this your first time to LA?
I've been to San Diego and yeah, I think I came on a training trip somewhere close, but I don't remember where we went with the swim team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to San Diego quite a few times.
So what do you think of LA?
I don't know much yet, like it's just big.
Yeah.
It's big, yeah. And I don't know much about LA, but it's cool. It's really nice out. It's like a beautiful day. And it's beautiful here. It's so beautiful. You have a gorgeous house, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
But like, yeah, it seems really nice here.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you doing this podcast. It's been it says pleasure, feels weird to say, but it's been a privilege to follow your journey.
Oh, I'm so honored that I got to come out here. You're easy to talk to. You're great. Like, I feel like you're a great person who has creative ideas flowing, which I love.
I love creativity.
It generates conversation. I love it.
And it's so funny. I didn't know how easy this conversation would be or wouldn't be, but I feel like we're a little bit kindred spirits. And as soon as you said Russian literature, I was like, wait,
that's so funny.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. And I think I was journaling this morning, and I was kind of like writing, like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Like, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong? And I was like, I'm doing everything. I'm working at a pretty high level. And I was like, well, I don't know what the fuck it is. And then as soon as you started talking, I was like, I need to find a book that I've read before. I've never read the same book twice ever in my life. But as I was talking to you, I was like, I need to find a book I read before and reread it.
Reread it.
And I was like, maybe I'll do one of those Russian books like We.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I thought about like rereading some Russian books too. Oh my gosh, can I tell you a ridiculous Russian book story from my class, my fairy tales class? We had to buy a compilation of fairy tales, and apparently by the same author, there's another compilation, and that's the one I accidentally bought because I thought it was the same one. And it's called Russian Secret Tales. They are all dirty fairy tales.
Oh, for real?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I 100% read that, and like they are explicit. And I was like, God, this class is so weird. And that was my first experience. And I was like, What are they having us read?
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Chloe, I want to keep in touch, and we'll take you out in
Definitely.
New York and introduce you to some people, and make sure that your transition to New York is not as rough as it has been this last month or so. But it should be. New York, New York's a place where once you're there for a year, all of a sudden you start feeling stronger about everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just very I'm very excited to see what happens with you.
Thank
and
you.
I'm looking forward to this fucking book about your paralleled
I
friend.
know now I mentioned the idea. Now I've got to.
By the way, if you want anything taken out, Halston's here. If you want to listen to this episode first, feel free. Anything you want. I want to make sure that this was a good experience for you because I want to hear you on Whitney's. I want to hear you on Whitney's podcast.
Oh my God, I would love that. Whitney's
we'll get you
so
on
cool.
Whitney's podcast. We're gonna get you surfing with Bethany Hamilton. Aaron Ralston's gonna take you in an indoor rock climbing gym. I've got big plans for you.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Bert. It was such a pleasure being here. I'm so excited I got to be here. This was like one of the best conversations I've ever had, probably.
Oh,
like,
that
just
means
really
the
cool.
world to me.
Yeah, so I'm excited to hang out in New York.
Yeah, well, we're gonna set it up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.